A lot of people have been buying guns the past few years, and a lot of people have bought a gun for the first time. And if they haven't, there's a lot more people out there that are looking at that right now. And how do you buy a gun? It's your first gun and go to the gun store. So one thing we look at is that there's a process. A lot of people, when they've decided to buy a gun, especially if they weren't a gun owner before, there was some kind of activating event. Whether that was you came from a bad neighborhood, there was civil unrest, crime has gone up, or you've decided that this is America and you want to own a gun. All those are valid reasons. So with that, you have to understand why you're buying it. We need to identify that first. Why are you buying a gun? Whether it's your first gun or second gun, and what's the purpose of that gun? So we understand that, and then next we get to the beliefs about that. And everybody has different beliefs. You may have come from a gun family. You may have never shot a gun before in your life. You may be a recreational shooter, a hobbyist, and those kind of people do this for fun, or it's a genuine interest. Or you may be a competitor, right? Or you may be, or want to get into competition shooting. Or you may be a professional who carries a gun. Whatever that is, it's fine, but understanding that is going to really save you a lot of time and a lot of heartache and potentially dollars going to the gun store, because that's the kind of thing that these sales associates need to hear. So we look at all that stuff and we see everything, and then we decide, all right, I'm going to buy this gun. And if you have moral issues about that, well, that's something you need to overcome and start weighing things. So you decide, you start doing research, and then you're ready to go to the gun store. And that's kind of where we're at now. So let's go in and check it out, and let's talk about the rest of this. So with your decision to purchase, there's two parts to that. You've got your budget or price, and then you've got all of your options that are available to you. And with the gun is obviously the biggest purchase that we're gonna make, most likely. That's the main purchase at least. Where you've got the gun itself, you've got probably a few spare mags, a holster, maybe a safe, ammo. You might look at training and doing some other things, whether it's a permit, in your state, or just getting some simple training to go along with it. So with that said, we know there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and then we do research, right? And that's probably why you're here watching this video right now. We go down the rabbit hole and research, and we've got YouTube available to us. We talk to our friends, we talk to people that we think know more, right? And every gun owner out there has talked to somebody about buying a gun. So now that we have all this, we're kind of at that point where we get to the gun store and we're ready to go in and check this out. So how do you choose a good gun store, a reputable one, and decide that's where I'm going to buy a gun? Well, we came to Royal Range here in Nashville, and we're going to show you that. I'm going to show you what a good gun store looks like and how they can help you out and educate you and find exactly what you need. So a good gun store should have a few things. Knowledgeable sales staff. That's not intimidating. That's not one of those when you walk in, they start ripping off stuff. That's not the gun you want. You want this revolver right here. Forget that. You need someone that's going to listen to what you have to say and help you find what you need and what you want. So let's go and check it out. We'll see all the different rooms they have. We'll see all the different options they have. We'll talk to some sales associates, and now we'll work through that entire process of buying a gun from start to finish. Let's head inside. So now we're inside the gun store. We've talked a lot about what leads up to this point, but now we're actually in here and we're chatting with Noah.
My name's Noah, nice to meet you.
Noah's one of the gun sales associates here at Royal Range. So anytime you get in the gun store, there's a lot that kind of goes into this, right? And you've seen it a lot with people. They show up to a gun store and they don't know what to expect.
That's
right?
true, yeah.
That's probably, I would say, the most frustrating thing for somebody, right? Buying a gun is not an easy thing. It's a big ordeal, it's a big decision, and it's a little bit intimidating, especially when someone shows up to a gun store never having been here before. So we want to talk a little bit about what to expect, and one of the first things is probably just the noise, right? This is a gun store and it's a gun range. So in here you got a lot of other people walking around, you got people talking, and we got gunfire going off in the background. Why? Because there's a shooting range out back. So if you hear gunshots, that's normal. It's a gun range, it's a gun store, right? And people are out there training, they're doing good stuff. Looking at what to expect, someone comes up, how's the first thing that they're going to do or the first thing that you're going to say to them when they get here?
So first thing I'll do when someone walks in, I'll ask them, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Is there anything we can help you out with? Some iteration of that.
Fair enough, right?
Like, is there something you came in specifically for or just came to look?
There we go,
And
right?
then if they say, hey, I'm looking for this, I'll direct them to it if I can find it, and we'll start off from there.
Fair enough. So the first thing you're going to expect is that the gun sales associate, you, in this case Noah, is going to ask you, one, how's your day? And two, what are you looking for? So the big thing to do is that I'm using this gun because, or I want a gun because of blank. And we'll say home defense. And I'm looking at a blank. So a lot of people, what's one of those common guns that you sell here?
SIG P320, Glock 19, those are the two most common ones.
Fair enough.
Amongst others.
Fair enough. So they'll say, person wants to own a Glock 19 for home defense, right? When you look at somebody, what are some of the things that you might gauge them for? Or not judge them on, but just kind of gauge them about and say, this person, is the size of the person, gender a little bit, but purpose, how comfortable are they with guns? Do you ever make any other recommendations?
Yeah, so be it a Glock 19, so like a good starting point. That's somewhere easy gun to base it off of. I'll look at just their hand size, their hand strength. So if they have a weaker hand strength, I'll recommend something more from the Smith & Wesson line. I'll judge it based on what their intent and purpose is and start to go from there. So another common go-to is the Smith & Wesson EZ, SIG P320s or the 365s.
Yeah.
It just, again, all depends on, is it like husband and wife coming in, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or just an individual by themselves?
Fair enough. And that Glock 19 is a good gun.
Yeah.
It is one of the best base guns, all-around guns you can use. Hell, we used the Glock 19s outside the waistband overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we carried that as a sidearm, used it for concealed carry stuff, and home defense, whatever. It really is the good all-around gun for that price. We're going to check out a couple guns, right? We know that we're probably going to look at the Glock 19, great gun to start with. And let's talk about something that's at the upper end of that spectrum, right? There's a lot of stuff in between for guns, right? I'm not saying Glock's at the bottom of the barrel, it's not. I'd put it smack dab in the middle. What are some of the guns that someone can expect to at least want to hold and try out and feel, maybe on the upper end of that spectrum?
So a common, really popular one right now is Staccato, or as they were previously known, STI International.
Yep.
They're, for the money, they're one of the best guns out there, to be honest. They're a good mix of something you can still carry, concealed, duty carry, or something that's a little bit nicer, can have a lot more fun with.
So, and it fits the hand a lot different too.
Yes, it does.
Right,
It's
so-
a different feel than going from a Glock 19 or even a SIG.
It is, and I think the big thing is that steeper grip angle. We get to Glocks, Smith & Wesson M&Ps, they have a little bit steeper, a little bit different grip angle than say a 1911 or a 2011. If you're not familiar with the 1911, 2011, think of a 1911 as the classic 45, right? America's guns, what we carried in World War II, and that's a single stack, so you're only gonna have so many rounds in it, usually no more than 10. Then you've got the 2011, and all the 20 means, instead of the 19, is that we're double stacking those rounds. So we have twice the carrying capacity. And I think it's pretty cool that Staccato's done that, and on top of it, they've made it a really reliable gun, which really wasn't the case a few years ago, was it?
Correct, yeah. They didn't used to be. And then when you get into 2011s, they're expensive, they're nice, but they get a little bit more, per se, finicky. Because they're a tighter fit and finish, more things get in there that could have it go wrong.
Absolutely.
But Staccatos find that good balance of giving you a good gun and not going too crazy on the price.
So why does a certain gun, for somebody, say a Glock, work really well, and then for other people that you've noticed, maybe a Glock doesn't work so well? They're not comfortable holding it. Have you noticed anything with that?
Oh yeah, all the time. I'll see it, especially when people come and rent firearms. They'll take them and shoot them. They may love how it feels out here on the retail floor, but once you get back on the range, feel the recoil, it all hits your hand a little different. Just kind of like, if it makes sense, trying on shoes in a store. You'll try on shoes, you'll go for a walk around the aisle, and you'll think, hey, this shoe feels great. But once you start walking, it starts hitting you weird.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I gauge it to customers as well, is it's kind of want to try out different guns like you try on shoes or test drive a car.
Yep.
Big part of it is renting guns. But they'll be it their hand, it doesn't fit, it hits their palm funny. There's so many different factors that can go into what makes a gun comfortable to them.
It does too. Hand size is a big one. So we'll take my wife, for example. First time I took my wife shooting, if any guy that's married out there knows, they take their wife shooting, or a woman who's taking their husband shooting, and she's more, that's probably a It can be a
little
pain in
less
the
good.
ass, right? You know, to say
Sometimes,
to put
yeah.
it nicely. Like, it's a little, you know, but it was a good time. And she really liked the 1911. I had an old Kimber, and she just loved that gun. I had her shoot a Glock, an M&P, and she was like, nope, I don't like it. I like the 1911. And that 1911 was a 45. It hit a lot harder.
Oh, yeah.
But the other guns shot softer. But when she put her hands on that gun and grabbed onto it and started shooting, she felt comfortable. Why? That grip was a little smaller. It just fit her right. And the way the trigger's designed, it goes straight back on a trigger bar. It's not a fulcrum trigger. She felt that she could pull the trigger easier. She was a lot more confident in her shots and everything else. So a lot of people would say, oh, 1911's not the gun for this type of person. You got to be this type of person to have this.
Exactly.
None of that's true. It really is individual. It's very individual, and it's based on what you feel is right, you know, what works for you. So I think the big thing is, for people coming in, don't get stuck on a certain product, right? Because if you buy that gun, that's $400, $500, $1,000, and if you buy a holster for it and other crap, that's just wasted.
a
You're
big
probably
investment.
never going to shoot, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's look at a Glock 19. We'll look at a staccato. And we're done with that, then we'll check out a rifle. Fair enough?
Sounds
So you got a
good.
Glock 19 and staccato on you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cool. So you guys noticed one thing, got here. First thing he did was lock the slide to the rear, take out the magazine, right? Make sure it's clear, and then he hands it over to me, hand it to me grip first like that. So I can comfortably grab it. Now I can start feeling the gun, looking at it and everything else. So here's where we get into people are really uncomfortable, right? A lot of people are like,
Yeah.
looks great, yeah, I'll take
Oh,
it,
yeah.
right? I don't know what they're doing, right? Because it's awkward. So a couple tips for everybody, right? What are you looking for when someone hands you the gun? Well, one, he does it pretty well. Some people at some stores, they'll actually set it down on the glass here and let you pick it up. They don't want to hand it to you. And then you put it back on the glass, kind of like buying jewelry or something. And then other places, they just hand it straight to you. Either way, it's fine. But first, slides locked to the rear, everything else. First thing we want to do, we know if there's no mag in it, pull back on it, we can just let that slide go forward, right?
Oh, yeah.
Next thing is, how many times have people pointed guns at you when they're looking at this?
More times than I can count,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, they stand here and they pulled up and they point it and they're just like aiming around and everything else. Quick little tip on etiquette, point it off to the side, right? And generally point it down at a wall or at a corner of the floor or something like that. So we get the gun, first thing, I'm just gonna hold the gun like I want, right? I'm gonna hold it, play with the slide a little bit, rack the slide, feel it, and then is it okay to dry fire it?
Yes, sir.
Pretty much every gun store I've been to, so it's okay to dry fire the gun. Some gun stores don't want you doing that. So it's always nice to ask, do you care if I dry fire?
Don't
Right?
mind at all.
As long as they say yes, have at it, right? Because you're gonna be shooting it and buying it, you might as well. So just generally hold it, check it out. Cool. Get a feel for the trigger. Feel how the trigger breaks, feel it in your hand. Nice and easy, hold, do that. And then one time what I'll do is I'll hold the trigger down, cycle the slide, and then let off so I can feel how the trigger resets. And we do that because now you're gonna know how it's gonna shoot through recoil. Because what do you get when you shoot through recoil? Bam, gun goes off, you cycle the trigger back, get back on the wall. We need to know how it resets, and that's really gonna give you a better feel for how the gun's gonna shoot. So we check that out, everything else. One thing you probably wanna do, and one thing we see a lot, is locking the slide to the rear. How many people look uncomfortable trying to manipulate the slide and push up on this slide release at the same time? And they like do this thing where they can't get it over and over, and then they finally do and it goes forward, and they stand here messing with it for 30 seconds, right?
Yep.
It's all right, that happens, it's normal. Quick little tip for y'all. If your hands aren't big enough for your thumb to reach the slide release as you pull back on the slide to lock it forward, another thing you can do is take the gun, turn it up so your thumb is there, and as I push up, I push down and pull up at the same time using my thumb, bigger motor skill right there, more gross, whatever you want to call it, more muscle. Then I can lock that slide to the rear. Now I feel a little more comfortable doing it. And anytime you do it, don't just pull and don't just push, pull and push at the same time with both hands, right? Just something people forget. Quick little way, it'll help you out. Hopefully we can lock that slide to the rear a little easier. We're not gonna feel so bad. We're not gonna feel so self-conscious or anything else going into this.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do I feel with this? First off, it's a natural point of aim. So when someone holds a gun, you got it here, as I push the gun out, that natural point of aim, right? One thing people notice is with a Glock, the front sight seems a little high, and you gotta like crank down on it to get everything to line up. Well, that's natural, right? Why? Because the grip angle's steeper. this line and that angle is a little steeper, so you just gotta cant the wrist down a little bit. Correct. No big deal. So Glock 19, simple enough, pretty standard stuff. You know, it's a great gun for the price and everything you're getting here, but it's pretty much standard across the board. So we know that. Now it comes time. All right, cool. Checked it out. Feel what I need to feel. Felt the trigger. Feel how it feels in my hand. I lock the slide to the rear. Everything else. Kind of see how it naturally points a little bit. Now let's look at something different, right? So I'm going to hand this gun back to you. When someone gives you a gun back, do you care if they lock the slide to the rear or anything?
No, I'm still going to check the firearm anyway to make sure it's clear. Even if I just handed it to them and they hand it right back. It's a matter of...
It's your process, right?
Yeah.
Every time you do the same thing. And you do that because you don't want any accidents, right?
Exactly.
We never get complacent. Firearm safety rules, right? So anytime you hand the gun over, my thing, I'm just lock the slide to the rear. I always hand a gun to somebody with the slide locked to the rear and pass it off to them just like that so they can check. But if you don't, it's totally fine. If you don't feel comfortable with it, hand it to the gun sales associate and they'll take care of it for you. So we got that, and that's good. Can we leave that up here?
Yes, sir.
One? Cool. All right, so that's up here. We're all good. We can take a look at that staccato. Removes the mag, locks the slide to the rear, turns it over, and passes it off. So now we're looking at two very, very different guns. So what is the price point on this Glock?
Price point's about $600 on the Glock.
$600 on that one. Okay, that's the Gen 5. They had a couple little features to it. $600. What is the price point on this Staccato C2?
Right at about $2,000.
$2,000. That's a big difference in price.
Oh, yeah.
That's $1,400 difference, right? Not even mention taxes are going to be more. So what do you get in some of the higher end guns? And we use Staccato as a great example because of all the higher end guns, a lot of people say you can't buy performance. Well, that's not exactly true. You can buy a gun that makes it easier to shoot, right? So, and that's kind of what they've done with these. So why are these guns feel a little bit better to most people? Well, one is that as soon as I grab onto this gun, you start pointing it, it feels like it fills the gaps in my hands a little bit better. Makes sense?
It does.
It does, right? And
Feels
part
like
of
a
it
good
is,
firm handshake.
that's it, right? Perfect. So it feels like a good firm handshake. Everything lines up a little bit better. The grip angle isn't as steep as it is with a Glock. It's a little bit more natural. And that comes from 1911s and originally produced, and made. That's what they wanted. And there's some other companies in the industry that have kind of copied that similar angle, like SIG has done that with their 320s. That's one of the big reasons this 320 has been so successful, that natural grip angle. So, amongst other things. But we get this, hold on to it, good to go. This one's a little different, it's got a grip safety. So if I don't push down the grip safety, trigger won't go off. Push down the grip safety, trigger now goes off, right? Same thing up here, you have your thumb safety, can push up, prevent the gun from going off, push down, now we can fire. So I put my hand on there, good to go, point it out. Everything seemed to line up a little bit better, right? Well, that's just me. That's why it does it for a lot of people. I like the way this gun feels. Now you just gotta decide, you gonna spend $2,000? I don't know, right? If you got it, spend it. But we like them a lot. Feel that, and the next thing we just do the same thing, right? The trigger. So, you get to this gun, pull the trigger breaks, everything feels good, but it feels a lot different than this gun, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why? Because this trigger right here is on a trigger bar that goes through the grip. So when you pull the trigger here, that trigger moves straight to the rear and goes off. It's a lot shorter too. It still has about the same weight, something like that, but it is a lot shorter. With a Glock, you have what's called a fulcrum trigger, right? So this is pinned up top and this travels here. So it feels like a longer trigger pull. Feels a little bit different, but they both work, they both go bang, and you can be accurate with both. It's just understanding the differences, right? Do you find most people, when they get to this gun, they all pretty much say the same thing? Are these style of guns shoot a lot easier, feel a lot better?
They shoot much better, they feel better, their trigger pull is nicer. And they may not realize that it's the difference between the trigger bar and the fulcrum trigger.
Yeah.
They just know that they like that trigger pull. It's less room for error.
Yeah.
For where people pull their shots left and right, having a straight back trigger helps eliminate that.
It does, yep. It's a lot easier to be accurate. When people go to shoot a gun, a lot of people will say, what makes a gun accurate? First thing people talk about is the barrel. It's not really true with pistols, right? You're probably not going to be able to outshoot the barrel on your gun. Now, some guns have better barrels, some worse, right? It tightens it up a little bit.
Exactly.
The big thing with accuracy is just going to be simply how you pull the trigger. The sights are on target, you pull the trigger easier in a way that doesn't deviate your sights, that's all you need to shoot. Everything after it's kind of a bonus. Usually, with this kind of gun, trigger pull straight to the rear, people are going to feel more confident shooting it. You can buy some confidence if you want to spend money. And a lot of people will spend a lot of money on Glocks. $1,000, slide
Easily.
cuts, grip work, trigger. And it's just simply based on the design. That gun's going to shoot better. It's going to be a great gun. It's going to shoot phenomenally, right? Good gun.
Yeah,
But it's
reliable,
different.
great guns, but it's a whole different ballpark.
It is, right? And as long as you understand the differences, it's all good. I can shoot a Glock almost as well as I can shoot this. Doesn't matter where they say it's the Indian, not the era.
Yeah,
right? Same concept.
exactly.
So we look at our two guns, and we're starting to see the differences in them. And for me, I would probably, if I had the money, I'd probably buy this. If not, I'm going to feel just fine buying something like that or any of the other models out there. Nowadays, there's really not a whole lot of difference between the different manufacturers. It's basically aesthetics, style, and just fitment for the most part. They're all pretty reliable. They all work well, but they all work differently. So this may work for one person, but not for another. This may work for one, but not for another. So really just going through the list and finding, do you like a Smith & Wesson M&P? Do you like one of the Berettas? Do you like, the numerous different guns out there?
There's so many options out there in the world now. I mean, if you can't find one, for example, let's say the Glock doesn't work for you, there's so many different options that you have the chance to be able to feel or go to find the gun that matches you.
Fair enough. What are some of the most commonly sold guns? You kind of mentioned it earlier. Besides the Glock, here and the Staccatos kind of at the higher end, what are some of the most common other guns? M&Ps, SIGs?
So M&Ps, SIGs, Canics are really popular.
Really?
They're a Turkish brand. They sell fairly decently.
Yeah. CZ?
CZs are a little hit or miss, to be honest.
Really?
Just it's more of a niche market.
Yeah.
With a lot of them, because we tend to carry more of the hammer-fired ones here.
Gotcha.
Which are a little bit pricier, tend to be a little bit more particular about the people are more particular about what they're looking for when it comes to a CZ.
If someone wants a CZ, they're probably coming in knowing they want a CZ.
They'll know their specific model, they've looked up all the intricate little facts about it, they know that's the one they want.
Cool. All good guns, man.
Oh yeah, all great guns.
All different too.
That's so true.
CZ is very different from the others because double single action, and that slide is real narrow.
Yeah.
It's real, I don't want to say thin, but top to bottom, it's real narrow.
Yeah, that's
You know
my
what I
thing
mean?
with them is personally, they're not my favorite. Not a bad thing, they're great guns.
Yeah.
They'll shoot so well, but for my hands, that's why I like stuff like Staccatos, Glocks. I've got more, if you'll say, real estate for my hand to be able to manipulate the slide.
Yeah, makes sense. Is there any other stuff that you'll hear from a customer? The questions they might ask. They get to this point, they can't decide. Is there anything you ever talk to them about or some stuff you can think that a customer should ask?
So things they should ask is why, for example, with these two specific models in mind, why would I spend $2,000 over 500 or 600? Or what's capacity? What's another big thing for people is their company's warranty. Because they want to know if something ever happens with their gun, who can I go to fix it? I mean, there'll be gunsmiths out in the world, but it's nice to have a company backing what your gun's going to be.
Yep.
So
we
we'll
know
see.
Staccato's got a lifetime warranty. Glock's pretty much got the same. Most of the companies out there have that now,
They do.
right?
Yeah, most companies have gotten on the bandwagon of a lifetime warranty is a really good thing because it helps reassure your customer base that they're getting a gun and if it breaks, they're not out of luck.
Fair enough.
Which has happened with a couple firearms here and there. You see companies going out of business or predominantly with some NFA items like suppressors.
Okay, cool.
Which much less common for the first-time shooter.
Do you ever get a lot of questions, and a lot of people say a gun for home defense? And one thing that turns them off from the Glock is they say there's no safety on a Glock. There's no manual safety. There's the trigger bar, you know what I mean, the trigger safety, but there's no actual safety on it. And then we get to a gun like this, they have a grip safety, and they have a manual safety that you manipulate with your thumb. If someone's coming in and they're dead set on a certain, say a home defense gun, do you see a lot of people asking, I want it to have a safety? Is that a big thing for a lot of people?
It's about 50-50. So a lot of the times we will have people asking it, but they're open to why they just hear they need a safety. They don't know specifically why. Some can't articulate why. So I understand if they have kids or other various reasons why. But it's an even mix between safety or no safety on firearms. Probably a little bit more leaning towards no safety.
Let's say for the person who's carrying it on their body, this is an everyday carry gun, they're probably not as worried about a safety, right? The people who do want a safety, is that usually because they're keeping the gun somewhere in the house primarily, or like in a purse or something
Or
like that?
it can be a little bit newer or more timid to firearms. They don't feel as comfortable, so that other little step of safety is more of a reassurance that something's not going to go off or there could be an accident. So
a good thing with that, to me, I don't care if it has a safety or not. If I've got a Glock, great, I know how to work the gun. If I got a staccato, great, it's got a safety on it. The safety is not going to cost me any time in getting that gun to be able to shoot, right? Whether it's on target or defensive situation or just pulling the gun out and shooting at a target. It's not going to cost me any time. But if that's something you want a safety and you know you're going to want to learn to use that, and that's definitely something you want to have in that gun, get it. Get your gun with a safety on it. There's so many options out there. I think some of the SIGs that don't have safeties, and they have some models that do, right?
Yeah, so the 365s, 320s, I mean, so many different models have a with and without safety option.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree on the safety. To me, it's hit or miss. I have guns with and without them. My big thing is training with the safety. If people don't train to get that safety off and get used to their firearm, that's when you run into it where it takes more time to get safety and deal with that piece.
Fair enough. So we kind of go down between these two, and you make your decision. You look at all the different guns out there, and you kind of go with what you feel is right. You know, do you. So we looked at these. Let's go ahead and talk about looking at a rifle. Okay, if that's all right. So I'll turn these back to you. So see that. There you go. Cool. Let's take a look at a rifle, and I noticed you got a pretty sweet new rifle back there. Some bear guy made it?
Yeah, they look to be pretty good rifles.
Yeah. Let's take a look at one of those. Cool. So, AR-15, standard AR-15, you're probably going to see anywhere else. So he hands it to us. What does it do? Make sure there's no mag in, and instead of locking the slide to the rear, locks the bolt to the rear, right? And pretty much every gun up here has the buttstock collapsed, right?
Correct.
So buttstock's collapsed. Are you going to shoot it this way? No, this is for storage, all right? So a lot of people, I'm sure, they get up here and they're like, oh, it looks good. There's no sights on the gun, right? So they can't see anything. But we look at that, simple thing to do. Check your chamber, make sure it's good, point in a safe direction. Just kind of put the buttstock, extend it out, and just kind of put it in your shoulder. See how it feels, feel the rail, right? Manipulate the safety, use that button on the side, push that bolt forward, and then we can kind of line that up and do the same thing we did with that picture, right? Good, everything feels good, feels like an AR, right? So quick little plug, because I'm selfish and Tom and I wanted to do this. How much does that rifle run?
I believe right around 1,500, 1550. 1549.
That's right, yeah, 1549. So, good gun. You guys got a lot of options up here. It's a gun just like anything else, right? We put a different trigger in it, so a little bit different rail, M-lock all the way around, a little bit thinner, barricade stopper on it, dead air silence or muzzle device up here for suppressors. We put a better trigger in it, a Hyperfire designated marksman trigger, and then the Bravo Systems B5 buttstock and a more natural angle on the Magpul grip. Other than that, being gray, you got the Bear right there, Bear Solutions, and made by Tactical Edge down in Clarksville, Tennessee. And so one thing you'll notice in differences on rifles is that the big thing is going to be the difference in the trigger, the difference in the buttstocks, and the difference in the handguards. Every rifle is going to feel a little bit different, and a lot of it has to do with that buttstock. These are super cheap to replace. If you don't like a gun, the buttstock on it, you spend $50 and get a different one and find one that fits you better. So really look at the expensive pieces. Did the gun come with a good trigger? Did it come with a nice handguard? I prefer thinner handguards with M-lock on them.
Well.
Some people like the full M-lock, or not M-lock, Picatinny rails. You got a couple of them in, but pretty much everybody's going to this. So really just feel the gun. That's it. Feel the gun. They're all probably going to be a little bit similar. Feel the trigger and make sure everything lines up with it right. Cool, so hand it back, bolt's already to the rear. I'm good with that. Oh, and you got a 45 instead of 90 degree safety selector here, which you can change to 90 just by like flipping it around, super easy. But hand that back to you, man. Appreciate it. Toss this back. Cool. So we go through all that, and it's kind of the time to buy, right? Decision what we're gonna make. And we'll just say that I've decided to buy gun X. So what's that next step after somebody does this?
Next step is we ask the customer their driver's license, any state issued ID in Tennessee, And then we take them over to the counter and have them fill out what's called an ATF form 4473.
Okay.
Basically just a firearm transaction form. We have them fill it out, be it on a computer or by pen and paper. It has a long list of basic questions. But next step is get their license, state of birth, and run a background check on them as well.
Cool. And once they fill out that paperwork, whether online or on paper, then you guys, that information gets submitted to FBI, right, for background check?
Yeah, so it goes, in Tennessee, it goes through TBI, and they run that through the NCIC as well.
Cool.
Yeah, their system is all done electronically online through
Nice.
their website, and we can call it in as well if need be.
So a lot of gun stores use paper, right? They still use the paper forms. The ones back in Clarksville where I live, they all do that normal stuff. Can you grab a paper form for us and we'll just kind of show them what to expect on there? We're not going to tell them how to fill it out because, you got to fill it out honestly,
Exactly.
all their information. We just kind of show them what that looks like so they can see it. And they can Google it too, but might as well show them here.
Yeah.
Can you grab one of those
Grab
paper forms?
Be right back.
Thanks, man. We're going to look at that form on here, all the different questions, just kind of see that. And again, the biggest thing is you fill that out honestly. You put your information on there because they're going to compare that and they're going to look at that with the FBI. So this is the 4473, right?
Correct.
ATF form, and they just changed this recently, right?
Yes.
Cool.
I believe, the paper copy is updated. They changed it back in November, I believe.
Cool. So what do you usually tell somebody when you hand them this?
So big things I'll tell them is there's some commonly missed questions that they'll hit. So county and country, ethnicity and race, but a lot of it, if you have any questions about like what a question means, you can ask us. They also, nice thing about using the online site is they have question boxes that will describe a question. So that's another perk of using the online source is they'll give you like what this question means, why do I need to fill it out.
Yeah.
One commonly missed one is the UPIN, which is a unique personal identification number, not commonly used. Besides that, I'll tell them to fill out everywhere from the name portion down. They have some questions down here as far as, is this for them, citizenship, so on and so forth, felonies and crimes and so forth. And there's just a place in the back where they sign and date, confirming that they're done with their half.
Cool. So that first part up here is for you guys, right? This is the
Correct,
information
yeah.
you fill out. And then section B must be completed personally by the transferee buyer. They fill out all this, answer all their questions, fugitive from justice, all that stuff. Get down here, then they sign and date. And from that point, then you guys finish off the rest, run the background check, and it's good to go, right?
Easy enough.
And the other option is you guys actually have electronic, which I've never seen that in a gun store before. Probably because I live in Clarksville, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
this is a pretty big
Clarksville.
gun store. Clarksville's a great town. Great. We've got some really good gun stores down
That
there.
they do.
But we just all do it on paper, right? I've never seen the electronic one, but that does seem a lot easier.
Yeah,
Right? And we're going green, right? We're not killing trees.
Exactly. The big perk of the electronic is handwriting. Especially different
Yeah.
ages, stages in people's lives. You'll get different hand strength, different handwriting. Doctors, for example, coming in. It's been a joke that they have terrible
horrible handwriting.
Yeah,
Nobody's ever been able to
abysmal.
read a script.
But when they come into the electronic forms, it's much easier also to notice if there's errors we have to correct. We can correct them very easily.
Gotcha.
That's not an O that looks like an 8 or an E that looks like a C kind of thing.
Gotcha. Cool. So we fill this out, and one of the things that I always noticed buying a gun, from the first one to my 20th one or whatever, was when this thing goes back and y'all are running the checks, then it's time to start thinking about holster, ammo, accessories, right? Maybe look into training and talk to the staff here about that, or getting a concealed carry license, which isn't a thing anymore in Tennessee. We have constitutional carry or no permit or whatever they call it now.
Permitless carry.
Permitless carry. But in some states, they still got to do that. So now, what is all the stuff that people should think about once they purchase their gun? Because I think waiting on the background check is a great time to just kind of peruse the store, check everything out, and see what their offerings are.
So a couple things to look out for, especially if it's your first one. It wouldn't hurt to start looking at cleaning kits because you'll need to clean your firearm at some point. Another option would be storage, be it a handgun safe or if you're getting rifles, rifle cases, some way to store it if you don't have a safe at home to keep it in.
Yeah.
Ammo or extra accessories. For rifles, it would be extra magazines or even pistols as well.
Optics, sling.
Yeah, optics, slings, flashlights.
Yeah.
What's nice is it's kind of like I make a joke with customers, it's like building a Lego. You have so many different pieces and parts you can build it off of.
That's true, man. I think the big thing when we'll get people at classes, they'll show up, or they'll email ahead of time, not show up. They'll email us ahead of time and say, what do I need for the class? It's like, well, first of all, did you read the packing list that I put together? If you don't have those things, it's pretty basic. You probably need to get them. But it's a holster, right? a belt, if you're going to carry this gun concealed or even outside the waistband, you just need a decent belt, right? Any
Good
belt
belt.
will work, but just something maybe a little bit more sturdy depending on the weight of the gun. Holster belt, get a couple spare mags because they're nice to have at the range, right? When you're training, you don't have to go load up 2 every time. Let's say have 6 mags total, right? And then ammo.
Yeah.
And then if you can, training. And we're big on training because, well, that's what we do, right? But
Right.
here at Royal Range, you guys also offer a lot of classes too. You got gunfighter classes, you got rifle classes, pistol classes, concealed carry classes, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, especially if they're newer to it, we have new shooter classes and a series
Oh,
of
nice.
those to defensive pistol classes. So the defensive pistol class, even if they don't get a carry permit, that's their next step up of how to be a armed and aware citizen,
Good.
which is somewhere where I try and lead them to. If you don't have to do it right away, but it would be a good thing to try and get some training down the road.
Yeah. And that's the hardest thing about, I think, for a lot of people, like my neighbors. I helped them buy their first gun. You know, they bought it, everything. Talked to them a little bit about it. But then there was that now what part of it.
Where do I go? I have this gun.
What
do I do with it?
Yeah, what do you do with it? Well, if you don't know what to do, it's hard. And a great place for people that just bought the gun is usually the gun store. Not every gun store offers classes, but if a gun store does offer classes and they're fairly good classes or well known, you know, at least somewhat as well known as this place is or somewhat as reputable
Yeah.
as, you know, Royal Range, then they're probably going to be off to a good start. So check with your gun range, see what they recommend, go to other places because they know how to take you from I have no clue to now I'm starting to feel confident. And that's all we're trying to get them to do. So look at training, look at a little bit of ammo to go practice with, a holster, you know, a couple spare mags, maybe mag carrier or something like that. And you're probably good to go. Cleaning kit, that was a
Yeah,
good one too.
cleaning
I take
kit.
that for granted because I was in the military. So like everyone, just cleaning stuff everywhere,
Yeah.
right? So we never had to buy one, but that's a good one. And then the safe. How much does a safe run? What is like the low end and high end?
Low end, I mean, you can get some pretty cheap and inexpensive safes that I don't recommend for about 40 to 50 bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a old coworker who actually had a case lock up on him with a gun in it, and they had to break back into it. That was interesting,
Yeah, I
to
bet.
say the least. But a decent safe will probably run you 50 to 100 for an okay one.
Yeah.
A good handgun safe, a really good one, will be about 100 to 200.
Yeah.
There are a lot of common ones with locks and key fobs and the little RFID chips you can scan.
Yeah. There's the one that has like the pattern you put in with your fingers. What's that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah, I think Hornady has those.
Yeah.
A couple other companies do.
One of the shooters in the industry, he helped make that. I can't remember what it's called. Safe box or something. Crap,
Yeah.
I can't remember. They're pretty cool. Put them by your nightstand, gun goes in there. You hear that bump in the night, you think it might be that home invasion or something going on.
Exactly.
You just want to check out. You know, you can put a light on top of it, grab the light, you know, hit the different keys in a certain order, safe pops open, grab it, you can go.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the electronic stuff.
Me either.
If it's electronic, you better have a manual backup because it's always going to go down eventually. Batteries run out. So just have the backup, but they are nice.
One I'm not keen on is biometric. Biometric being fingerprints or anything else like that. Middle of the night, let's say something happens, a lot of people get nervous, start sweating.
Yeah.
Sweat will get on your fingers, won't read the fingerprint, can't spray it. Yeah. Won't read it correctly,
Yeah.
could lead to a problem.
That's a
Which,
good point.
like you said, have a manual backup.
Yeah. Cool. So we're running the background check. We're doing that. We see all this going on. We're checking everything out and kind of deciding, right? Holster, you know, something probably Kydex. Kydex are some good plastic holster. There's some combos out there, but generally a good place to start. And you get a couple extra items, then it's off to pay and check out, right?
Exactly.
Cool. Well, is there anything else you can think of for people that they should probably know when they get here?
One thing that sometimes people worry about is, to me, there's no such thing as a stupid question with guns.
Yeah.
Everyone starts out somewhere. I mean, I'm always happy to help customers start from the most basic, simple questions up to something crazy and elaborate, whatever it may be. Just finding somewhere to start or have kind of an idea, it will help everyone. But I mean, it's not necessary. That's what us as retail staff are here to help with,
Yeah.
is to help guide you where you need to go and what we trying to have your best interest in mind.
And I think if you go to a gun store and you ask a question, it's not stupid to you, that's why you're asking it. And if you get some negative feedback, you know, or you get scoffed at by the gun salesperson, this probably isn't the best gun store for you, right? Because at the end of the day, you're buying a gun, it's a big decision. So if you're gonna go spend that much money to store, the least they can do is show enough respect to answer all your questions. Know that this is important to you. Just treat
Exactly.
you respectfully. There's one thing that drives me nuts is going to the gun store and the typical I hate to use this term, but kind of that old school, you know, thud mindset or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? That we got no place for that anymore, because we got a whole generation of shooters coming up that are eager to get into this and look at it, but they're getting turned away by that stereotype of someone who works at a gun store. And that's one of the reasons I like this place so much. People come in here and you can just see the diversity in this place. There is older, there is younger, there is every shade, there is, I mean, all kinds of people. That's what you want, and that's a really good sign of a good gun store. So we got that. I think it's last question for you. What's one of the, I don't say funniest or strangest or reasons someone has given you for wanting to purchase a gun?
Common one, zombie apocalypse. Had a woman who I guess the term baby daddy walked out on her. She wanted to get back at him for doing so. That one was interesting.
That was probably a no-sale.
Yeah, no, definitely didn't get that one.
Yeah.
Another one was someone had prairie dogs popping up in their yard. That one just threw me off.
Yeah.
But common funny ones, zombie apocalypse or, you know, end of the world.
Yeah. And I think we know what people mean when they say that. They're like, it's kind of getting weird out there. I just want to ensure my own safety.
Exactly.
You know, and what do we say? We use terms like zombie apocalypse that aren't exactly the most professional or, you know, whatever
they use it as
digestible terms, you know.
A scapegoat for being prepared for what they don't know is coming.
There you go. There you go. So, lots of different people coming here to buy guns. People you never expect.
Some people I never expect. I mean, from one story I can remember is very nice older gentleman. He didn't look like he was much of a shooter. Came in looking to buy 3 Barretts on a random quiet Sunday a couple of years ago. Didn't expect it, but he's a very nice guy. I mean, you get all different kind of, you know, races and shades and different creeds of people from all over the world.
Everybody's got different reasons, man.
That's
like
true.
We see that in class. We'll have doctors show up. We'll see younger people that are in college. And then you come and talk to them and you find out, why are you buying this gun? It's like, well, I was sexually assaulted one time, or I had a home break-in, a home invasion. You know, and they got in the house, and I didn't know how to use this gun, and now I want to.
As well.
You know, there's a lot of that stuff out there. And I think you can never judge who's a gun owner or who's going to come in this door, because there's one thing that everybody has in common, and it's this. And it's, I'm going to take my safety into my own hands. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be, I don't use the term prepared or anything like that, but I'm going to be confident in my abilities to, you know, own a gun or whatever it may be. So I appreciate it, man. Let's get to checkout, and I'll hand this notionally filled out, you know, firearms thing here back to you.
Sounds
and we'll head over there and we'll check out. Cool?
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
man. Let's do it.